So what about Henry Ruggs, Johnny? Do you have an opinion on Henry Ruggs and where you think do you think he's being slept on as well?
Oh, I've got an opinion on every single wide receiver and every single fantasy player.
Maybe I shouldn't have even.
Maybe you shouldn't.
I should not have opened that up.
Right here.
What up, Whisper Nation? Before we get you to your video, just wanted to remind you that this Saturday, August 8th, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we are going live right here on our YouTube channel for 24 straight hours of mock drafting. We are bringing people in from the fantasy football community, people that you know and love. You can draft with them. We're giving away a ton of prizes. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you hit subscribe, hit the bell, so you get a notification when we go live on Saturday, so you can come and join the mock draft mania that is going to be happening. All right, hope to see you then, Whisper Nation. Let's get you to that video.
All right, so we're moving on here, and we're talking rookie wide receivers, a couple rookie wide receivers. Now, the common theme, especially with this draft, is, look, we've got a bunch of new toys. We've got a bunch of new rookie wide receivers. Are they going to make a difference? And COVID offseason gets you thinking, I don't know, like, are they going to get the reps they need? But there are two guys that we really need to talk about here in Jalen Reagor and Henry Ruggs, who are both lined up to get a lot of volume within their offense. They're especially Reagor because of the history with this Philly wide receiving core. So I just wanted to ask, are people sleeping on Jalen Reagor and Henry Ruggs? Johnny, why don't you take this first, and what your thoughts are on Jalen Reagor?
I love both of these wide receivers. I am a huge fan of Reagor this year. I know a lot of people aren't necessarily on his bandwagon right now because, one, they didn't see a lot of his games because of he went to TCU. He didn't also make a lot of lists because his quarterback play was super inconsistent. So it didn't give him, consistent numbers all throughout college, which diminished, his value as far as whether his name is a well-known guy like Justin Jefferson or some of these other guys. But I'm telling you, Reagor is the real deal. This guy is a field stretcher. They want him. There was a reason why they passed on Justin Jefferson. Let's remember that. Like, they passed on Justin Jefferson to get this guy because it's Doug Peterson. He knows how he likes to use these gadget wide receivers, these field stretchers, and I know he has a plan for him. And, talk about wide receivers having an opportunity. Look around him. Like, Philly, we're talking about Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver core, who every single year seems to be just pulling guys by the end of the season off the street because they don't have anyone else in their wide receiver class or wide receiver room because they're all injured. Like, give this guy, he's going to be tailored to Carson Wentz, who people are still undervaluing. Like, this guy is a great quarterback. He'll get the ball to Reagor. That's all he needs to do. You just got to get the ball to this guy, and he'll make things happen. He's going to be like Tyreek Hill. He's a screaming value. Wide receiver 50, come on. Like, he's going to give you weeks where he's going to definitely be a flex option for you for sure. I'm not saying he's going to be a league winner. I'm not going to say he's going to be an every week RB2, although or wide receiver 2, although that is an upside. But he definitely is going to give you weeks where he can win you the week because he has that upside of a 50-yard touchdown.
And is Alshon Jeffrey still hurt?
He is.
Yeah.
Is Deshaun Jackson still questionable? He may not be.
And Marquise Goodwin just opted out of the season, right? Another wide receiver as part of the Philadelphia core.
Yeah.
So, yep.
I mean, besides Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz, I mean, you got to have someone else to catch.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things to be excited about here, right? Like, he's super fast. We're going to talk about Henry Ruggs, who was clocked as the official fastest in the draft. But then afterwards, Jalen Reagor went and did his own unofficial timing with a couple stopwatches and showed that he actually beat that 40 time. So we're talking about Jalen Reagor being maybe even faster than Henry Ruggs. Depends on what day you get him, I guess. But I think, he's the wide receiver 50 coming off the board in the 12th round. I mean, come on. Like, that's ridiculous. He's going to have weekly flex upside and week winning upside if he does end up getting 10 targets in that offense. I mean, look at Deshaun Jackson week 1 last year. 10 targets, almost 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Look at Deshaun Jackson week 1 of any year.
Yeah, well,
that's
true. But and then the last thing I'll say is Adam Kaplan from NFL Network said that he predicts that Jalen will not only lead them in targets, but also in receptions, but also in snaps. He thinks that just because of the way this wide receiver core is shaking out, there's no way Reagor doesn't see the field a ton, even as a rookie. And I think that's the main thing here. And I think that's kind of the point that we want to make with Henry Ruggs. So with Henry Ruggs, are you fading him, or do you like the opportunity he's got, Stepmom Lauren?
He doesn't excite me as much as I know. That's just meh. That's all I got. He doesn't excite me.
It's something about Raiders players, right?
Jalen Reagor. I know. I can't. I'm like, I don't even have words to describe why I do or don't like him. I'm just meh. But a rookie wide receiver, and I'm not big on rookie wide receivers. You guys know that about me. I'm just kind of like, nah, I'll wait and see. I think we are sleeping on Denzel Mims of the Jets. That is someone I think we should definitely keep an eye out. I think they have the third most vacated targets in the NFL with 183. They did not add any kind of elite talent to take over.
Don't tell that to Austin. Brashad Perriman is elite to Austin.
What I mean, the big name. I love Brashad Perriman. He just crushed it in Tampa, and I'm excited for him in New York.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it wasn't like a big name that we're like, he's a veteran for sure.
He's not going to demand targets. I mean, and they'll both be vying for Darnold's attention.
Exactly. So and then that leaves more. They added Frank Gore, leaves more options for Le'Veon Bell to get involved in the passing game. Robbie Anderson is gone. Demaryius Thomas is gone. 2 other running backs are gone as well. Granted, that wasn't very much, but still a lot available. And Denzel Mims is talented. So I would actually say I think people are sleeping on Mims as opposed to Jalen Reagor and Henry Ruggs, because I'm not sure. I haven't heard a lot of talk about him, but I think he can be pretty successful in the offense, which is rare for me to say about a rookie wide receiver, because I usually stay away from them at all costs.
Talk about Jamal Adams getting traded. Like, could the Jets throw even more? Because that defense is even worse. Like, could they end up throwing even more than they did last year? Like, we could have a situation like that.
Doesn't go make out with any more 16-year-olds and get mono.
Right.
Oh,
well,
there's options.
The only concern I have with Mims was I was super high on Mims coming out, but then the Podfather actually did a nice piece on him where he had talked about, or he had a guest on, and excuse me, I don't remember who the guest was, but they were saying how they were hearing from scouts and GMs that the reason why Mims kind of fell further than a lot of people expected, because coming in he was like one of the top 3 to 5 wide receivers, was because he struggled in the Senior Bowl, and that's often when you have the elite of the elite talent, and so that's when GMs and scouts really try to look for those guys who are still breaking out with the elite of the elite talent, and apparently he struggled there, so that's a little bit of a concern. And there was also a concern that the position that he was put in, he kind of exceeded expectations according to a coaching staff rumors and stuff. Now, whether or not that's actual true, that's Whisper Nation can make up their mind. I really liked Mims coming out of college. I will say that his tape looked phenomenal. So.
So what about Henry Ruggs, Johnny? Do you have an opinion on Henry Ruggs and where you think do you think he's being slept on as well?
Oh, I've got an opinion on every single wide receiver and every single fantasy player.
Maybe I shouldn't have even.
Maybe you shouldn't.
Should not have opened that up.
But how long have you known each other? Of course.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Ruggs. Now I understand Stepmom Lauren's argument and about rookie wide receivers, and normally, I'm on that same boat as well for rookie wide receivers. Like, I'm not touching Jerry Jeudy. I'm not touching CeeDee Lamb because their ADP is too much for me. But telling me that you're trying to get the wide receiver 46 or in Ruggs, or wide receiver 50 in Reagor, and even in that same round, Mecole Hardman, there were 3 speedster guys in that round, and I love grabbing 1, 2, or 2 of those guys as a strategy, because we've seen, Mecole Hardman had flex appeal throughout last season. Like, these are good offenses. I know people are gonna like laugh at me and say, "Oh, you really think that the Las Vegas Raiders offense is a good offense? Like, get out of here." Well, I will say that Derek Carr with a put together wide receiver core after AB left him at the dance, at midnight with no shoes. They put together quite a nice offense, and Derek Carr actually passed for the most passing yards he's ever passed for in his career. So you get him actual weapons, which they did in this draft, and one of those guys is Ruggs. He's going to go on the outside. He has that home run ability. They're going to get him the ball. They want to use him like AB, I believe. So why not? A 12th round? Come on, you could do much worse than taking a stab at a 12th round Riggs, in my opinion.
You guys remember Hard Knocks with AB and John Gruden, how excited he was to have AB for that offense, said it was just going to take their offense to the next level. They didn't. He backed that excitement up by drafting Henry Ruggs as the first wide receiver off the board this year. And for all the talk about Gruden being out of the league too long and not knowing, this offense was sneaky good last year. It produced, at least for fantasy, in a lot of ways. You talked about Derek Carr throwing for 4,055 yards. That was the 8th most in the NFL. So you could talk about Carr's inefficiency. You could talk about Gruden all you want, but the numbers are there to back up that there's some volume here to take advantage of. And like you said, at wide receiver 46, why not?
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Whisperers podcast. You can hear more from John and Travis on Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at TF Whisperers.